This is Mostly Automotive Marketing with Matt Wilson.
And my next guest here, talking about personal branding for salespeople on Mostly Automotive Marketing with Matt Wilson, is a guy who I discovered him. This is kind of a messy story, but I know him as Mr. Mazda, Adam Dean, or Adam Dean, Mr. Mazda. And the story is I used to be the arena announcer for a FHL hockey team in Danbury, Connecticut. And Adam Dean presumably bought a sponsorship of that team, and I had to read, this, whatever it was, goal is brought to you by Mr. Mazda, Adam Dean, with a little thing about that. And I thought that was just the best, because I had never really heard a salesperson, salespeople do branding, Facebook and passing out business cards and whatnot, but I'd never heard a salesperson buy a sponsorship of a sports team. And I thought that was a great idea. So Adam Dean joining me. What's up, Adam?
Hey man, what's going on? Yeah, those were the days, huh?
That was a great idea. What gave you the idea to buy a sponsorship for yourself?
I got to tell you, it was a no-brainer. I was really good friends with Jed Wilson, who was part of obviously everything that was going on with either the Whalers or the Titans. But every single time, growing up, playing hockey with my brothers and watching hockey on TV, as soon as the goal was scored, everybody got real excited and then paid attention to what was happening on the ice. And so it was kind of easy for me to navigate those waters into having somebody pay attention to me right then and there and give back to the local community, because I loved everything about the hockey in the winter here, because there's really not much else to do.
Yeah. And for everyone listening who doesn't know, we're in Connecticut, and we live in an area of Connecticut, Western Connecticut. Danbury is the city. And, I always thought that because, I was talking to a guy before, and a lot of salespeople will brand themselves by finding something that makes them different, whether it's clothing or the way they look or their nickname or how they treat customers. And one of the things I think that happens a lot is a salesperson gets all psyched up. I'm going to do it, right? And then they give up after 3 weeks or a month. And I think part of the benefit is longevity. And you've been at the same place for like 9 years or something, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I was hired in the first day of spring 2010 from Darren Bay Looney. I got my foot in the door, had never sold a car in my entire life, and that's what he had wanted. He wanted somebody with no bad habits from, back in the day where it was, automotive industry was not exactly awesome for people. And right. So he wanted somebody with nobody knew in the car industry. And since then, I've kind of just held my own and taken advantage of every opportunity that I've been given. At
what point in the journey did you say to yourself, okay, I need to set myself apart and I need to brand myself? Was there a conscious decision to do that, or it was just kind of the way you carried yourself, or when did that happen?
Honestly, since I've been little, I've always tried to be the best that I could be, whether it was wrestling or football or, even chess team or anything like that. I've been a Boy Scout my whole life, just trying to be different than somebody else down the road to try to give myself a little bit of an advantage, while not losing sight of my own self. So I think I'm pretty fun, and I figured why not share that with everybody else. You seem like a fun guy on social media and everything. And when did you come up with the Mr. Mazda part of it? Well, it kind of just it just rolled off the tongue. It's tough to rhyme something with Dean, and Adam really doesn't rhyme with much. But no. Mr. Mazda, it kind of was a moniker from baseball days, like Mr. Baseball and Mr. October and stuff. And so I figured that was kind of silly, and people gravitated towards it, so I ran with it. When do you think people started realizing, because obviously the goal of personal branding is A, to let everyone know what you do, but B, for customers or prospects to remember you and then refer you and have repeat business? When do you think you first started to see results, the fruits of your labor from your personal branding? I would say after the first leasing cycle with Mazda. So obviously leases typically run 3 years. So after the first leasing cycle, when people started getting cars from me sporadically in 2010, 11, 12. After that, starting in 13, people came back. And then I realized that because they came back because of how I treated them at first, Like, I was grateful that, to be in front of them to begin with at first, but for them to come back, like, to a T, it was always because obviously the vehicles were phenomenal, but they felt that they weren't taken advantage of. They felt like I wasn't talking to their wallets. Like, they had a genuine good time. And then honestly, when I was seeing people out and about, like whether it's, at Stu Leonard's or if it's at Down the Hatch, like people would like remember how I treated them.
Yeah.
They, high five me. They'd ask me questions about my personal life, and I'd remember them from what they were doing. And so they'd tell their friends and then, their neighbors and everything. And that kind of just took off. And I used that as a springboard to keep trying and to get new avenues, to get more business.
Yeah, man, that's a great story. I think salespeople this is a good story for salespeople to hear who are just starting out or considering it or maybe moving to the automotive industry from wherever they are now. So I appreciate the time. When you and I were scheduling this, you dropped a wicked on me in an email. So I could only hope and pray that you're a Patriots fan.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
My mother's from New Hampshire, and that's where I spent, some of my formative years, and then half of it in New Hampshire, half of it here. So I'm one of those weird Patriot Yankee fans. So I've been dropping wicked, Mazda, and all that stuff since I was, I went to Keene State College too. So
all right. Well, yeah.
I was immersed in that culture.
Sometimes Patriot fans are hard to come by. I mean, you're a Patriots fan. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm recording the podcast from a studio in New Milford, Connecticut, and the guy who owns the studio, he's a Patriots fan. But other than that, there's like not a ton. There's a lot of Patriots haters and not as many Patriots fans.
Yeah, they rally around that cause, and good luck to them.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. We'll see you in the Super Bowl. See you in Miami. Exactly,
and to a point, the whole Bill Belichick do your job thing is exactly what I do. I sell cars. Like when I'm there half an hour early every single day. I stay late, weekly, and it's one of those where when the iron is hot, you strike. And I've done my job to the best of my ability that I believe. And that's how I keep getting, repeat and referral business. I rarely have to talk to people coming in off the street, which unless, obviously I'm grateful too.
Right.
I get so busy with repeat and referral business at this point that I just kind of have to keep my nose to the grindstone.
Dude, way to connect the topics. That is a skill in radio. Good job.
Not a problem, man.
Adam,
I appreciate
thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for talking to me.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
All right,
take it easy, bud.
Mostly Automotive Marketing with Matt Wilson is brought to you by... Wait, this guy has sponsors? Oh, never mind. This sheet of paper's blank. No sponsors. That makes more sense. For updates, info, future episodes, and more, follow on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and connect on Frackle. You guys made that last one up. That's not even a thing, Frackle. Come on.